Aromie here. Welcome back to our live Baxter DLC. We're here. The first part of the wedding is done with, and now we get the fun part, the eating and stuff. Just like that, the ceremony was over and it was time to start the party. As the guests began to migrate, the staff hung back, already beginning to rearrange the space. Chairs are being stacked and wheeled over to the reception area, ready for dinner.
Take care.
Go ahead and enjoy yourselves. I'll take care of things here. He's always behind the scenes and never in the scene, you know? Baxter excused himself to assist with the preparation, disappearing into the crowd and leaving you, Miranda, Cove, and Terry to mingle with the other guests. No sooner had you lost sight of him than you spotted the men of the hour wading through the mass of guests, hands clasped triumphantly between them. Their progress was rather slow. Everyone and their mom wanted a handshake. Eventually, they made it over to where your little group was standing. Scott was bouncing on the balls of his feet, lighter than air. Jude was his usual grounded self, but you could tell he was ecstatic. He raised his hand in a casual wave. Yo! Hey guys! You returned the wave cheerily, you beamed at the pair, then you tilted your head. Oh, hell yeah, hugs! Whoa! Jude's arms came up to steady you as you barreled into him. On your other side, Scott giggled. Congratulations on your marriage! Scott's radiant expression could have powered all of California for a year. Aww, that's cute!
Thank you so much.
It's been hard to keep myself together. I'm just so... He scrunched up his face and squeezed his arms tight, as if to clamp down on the powerful, nameless emotion welling up inside him. He understood, even if he couldn't find the word for it. Jude, with one arm still entwined Scott's, reached over with his free hand and tapped you on his shoulder. Hey, this wouldn't have been the same without you.
I appreciate this.
You can say that again. Thank you so much for your help, Michiko. Take some time to relax and enjoy the reception, okay?
You earned it.
Thanks. It wasn't any trouble. I'll try my best. The pair of them grinned in unison before once more being swept up in a tide of well-wishers and distant relations. For an instant, you were left twiddling your thumbs along with others. You took a moment to survey your surroundings for a lack of anything better to do. In a far corner of the room, you spotted a conspicuous figure flitting about, a grim-faced lady holding a camera. She must have been the relative of Jude's who he mentioned was a photographer. Either that or really enthusiastic about taking pictures. You recognized her from Miranda's 19th birthday. This must have been a tradition for her. There was something rather comical about such a solemn individual snapping photos of people who, pretty universally, sported smiles as big as their faces. Eventually, Scott and Jude had hugged, kissed, or shaken hands with the majority of their guests. Meanwhile, the staff were beginning to clear a large empty space in the middle of the room, easing the crowd to the walls to uncover the central floor. With cautious steps, Scott and Jude made their way onto the dance floor. Two lone figures, they took their positions as the noise of the guests faded to silence. You saw Jude lean in closer to his husband, whispering something in his ear. Scott grinned. Their eyes met and the music played. It started off slow with a measured, even tempo. The couple began to move in unison, easing into the dance carefully, their toes testing the floor as one might the surface of a frozen pond. As the usual beat began to pick up, though, they quickly settled into a polished, practiced routine. To your left, Terry sucked in an impressed gasp. He wasn't the only one to give his approval. As the couple spun steadily around the space, there were encouraging whoops and smatterings of applause. You could hardly believe those were the same people who, only a few days prior, would have sworn on their lives that this was an impossible feat. And now they were taking turns dipping each other to cheers, barely able to contain their joy. From across the room, you noticed Baxter watching with a gentle, heartfelt expression on his face. You detected a hint of satisfaction. He was unabashedly proud of his students. You thought his eyes flicked aside to meet yours, although that might have been a trick of the light, the setting sun casting strange shadows. Either way, his features remained unaltered, tender. As the music came to the delicate finish, Scott and Jude maintained their final pose for a second or two before embracing, to more acclaim from the onlookers. Scott held Jude's head in both hands, leaning in for a kiss. Extra cheering from Terry. Cove averted his eyes a little bashfully. He'd always been the type to get flushed over PDA. The lovebirds took their bows and were then rushed off to take more photos. Now that the first dance was taken care of, the next order of business was arguably the most important. Food! You and me both, Terry. It's all about the food. We're hungry. Especially because they woke up so early in the morning, got everything prepared. I don't even think they had lunch. Terry's voice was easily audible over the growing din of guests milling about once more. In an instant, he was gone, vanished in the direction of the appetizers. There was a green blur at the edge of your peripheral vision. You looked over to find Cove, a rather empty spot where he had been standing mere moments ago. Nothing was more reliable than Cove's response to what Miranda had once dubbed the F-bomb. That boy must have hollow legs. Maybe that was what made him so buoyant. You exchange amused glances with Randy before she shrugged and followed along behind the two boys. Might as well grab an appetizer too while there was still some left. Wanting to avoid the worst of the crowd, you went to find somewhere to sit down. No, You want to scoop out your seat for the main course. I want some appetizers. It was going to be a close call if you knew your friends. There had been a hungry look in Terry's eyes as he dashed past. He gravitated in the direction of the snack table, following along in the wake of your friends. Most of the other congregants were taking this opportunity for more socializing, with some handfuls breaking away to grab a morsel to munch on while they waited. It was easy to hook back up with your friends nearby, though admittedly that was never difficult even at the worst of times. You just had to walk in the direction of an elevated pair of blue eyes. Damn, Cove, you're so tall you don't even fit my screen. As soon as you caught up to them, Cove was passing you a small delicacy of some description. Oh? You should give this a taste, Michiko. I think you'd like it. Thanks. Aw, it's so cute when someone's like, I think you'll like it. You thought of me. You just simply thought of me and were like, yeah, she might like this actually. It's so cute. It's just a small little thing. And it means so much to me. You took whatever it was and popped it into your mouth, giving it a thumbs up of appreciation. You've been right. You immediately leaned over the table and grabbed another. Schmurger. The four of you hung around by the hors d'oeuvres for a while, swapping stories and reminiscing about the places you'd seen some of the other guests. Terry was, with some small degree of pride, recounting the names of Miranda's relatives as they flitted in and out of view. Many of them stopped by to say hello, which was sweet to watch. It was evident that many in Miranda's family already considered Terry to be one of their own, and it didn't escape your notice that Randy was on the receiving end of several meaningful looks. Randy, for her part, was doing an exceptional job of pretending not to notice any of them. She could be very unflappable when the situation demanded. Before you and your friends could totally wipe out the snack table, there was a tinkling sound of a bell being rung, which came from the direction of the dining area. This was a signal for everyone to take their places for the main course, presumably. Your little group hurried on over, joining the mass of guests crowded around the tables. Everyone's designated seat was marked with a name card written in glowing golden ink. You spotted yours quickly, and you and your friends were near the head table. Once the momentary fuss of the seating arrangement was dispensed with, the meal followed along in a very short order. A small squadron of waitstaff began to set large plates in front of the guests, each laden with food giving off a faint wisp of steam. If memory served, the options were chicken tahine, beef steak, vegetarian ravioli, and vegan risotto. In actuality, you had paid very little to the main course, your mind being elsewhere. The main was naturally a precursor to what Cove would have described as the most important course of all: dessert. On this occasion, you had to agree with him. You wolfed down your meal with a sense of growing excitement, hardly able to stop yourself from peeking over the tabletop every now and again. The tiered wedding cake, Xavier's masterpiece, stood resplendent at one end of Jude and Scott's table, and next to it, hidden under an unassuming silver cloth? How would it be received? How would Scott think? In your anticipation, you were finding it hard to sit still. It didn't escape Cove's notice that something was up. Halfway through eating, there was a gentle nudge at your elbow. He was looking at you quizzically.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. He was genuinely concerned, which was both very sweet and rather funny. You flashed him a quick smile and waved it away, not wanting to risk being overheard. During the ceremony, and he's so cute! As much as I thought Baxter was gonna steal Cove's spot as number one, I don't think there's any way. Cove is just that guy, you know? Even if we made him just our best friend, I feel like there would be a soft spot for Cove always. Like, there's always love for him. Even if it's not like romantic kind of love when we're married to somebody else. It's just a kind of love you can't express. Or, not express, explain. You know? During the ceremony and throughout the meal, Baxter had flitted from corner to corner of the room with the delicacy of a honeybee, his presence unassuming and unnoticed by all present except you. As the main course was being cleared, however, he tapped a fork against the side of a wine glass, the clear sound reverberating off the tile floors and quieting the diners' discussions. Honored guests, I hope the food and drink has been to your satisfaction. There were some non-specific noises of concurrence from the various tables. You glanced at Terry, who was patting his stomach contentedly, then at Miranda, still nibbling away at a piece of bread.
Glad to hear it.
We'll come to the part of the evening where the newlyweds will cut the traditional first slices of their wedding cake. Scott, Jude, if you'd like to. The sound of two chairs scraping against the floor drowned out the rest of what he said. Scott and Jude got to their feet and came around from behind the top table. The two men stood shoulder to shoulder in front of the tiered cake, a large steel knife clutched in Scott's right hand. Jude's left rested over the top, his wedding band winkling in the candlelight. Winking. There was a momentary pause as the dour-faced photographer performed her solemn, at least to her, duty, and then, with relatively little actual ceremony, the first clean cuts were made. The couple apportioned a slice apiece, and as promised, there was no smushing of cake into anyone's face. A round of applause rippled around the tables as the first bites were taken, and then a bustling sound as people started getting up to form a queue. Okay. But, like, you didn't see the surprise yet. Scott was limbering up to carve the slices for everyone when Jude tugged at his sleeve and stopped him with a word. He gestured to the silver cover, still hiding whatever was underneath. Sensing that there was more to come, the guest piped down again when Scott reached over and finally lifted the top to reveal the groom's cake in all of its glory. There were several soft gasps. One of these was from Scott himself. His face was blown wide with surprise and delight. He smiled open-mouthed, looking silently to his husband and back down at the controller cake. Oh, it's actually really cute. It's really cute. That's pretty 3D to me. It looks pretty 3D to me. I guess it's not as 3D because it's not propped up. But even then, even if it's propped up, I feel like that's 3D. I thought in my head it was just a flat piece of controller. It doesn't look like this. You felt a warm, fuzzy feeling spread throughout your body. As Scott began to whisper rapidly in Jude's ear, likely interrogating him about what was going on and where the cake had come from. It was too far away for you to tell what was said, but you didn't need to be in earshot to know that Scott was floored. You sagged in your seat with relief, your long night's effort vindicated. News of the groom cake spread like a wave through the room, people murmuring excitedly to one another, with some approving nods and expressions of admiration thrown in. At his husband's side, Jude was looking nowhere but at Scott's face, eyes filled with emotion. He wrapped an arm around Scott's waist, and they leaned into each other in a sidelong embrace. A fresh knife had been provided for the second cake, and Scott eagerly called the photographer back over to snap some fresh shots, both of the whole cake and then of them cutting it. This time, as the incision was made, Jude addressed onlookers.
Seriously?
This is the last cake, I swear. Some laughter, and then the room devolved into chatter as people began lining up in front of the top table for their dessert. You and your friends being close by got there early. The couple were handing out the slices to everyone on the side plates. Jude took care of the tiered cake while Scott was still fawning over the bright red controller even as he cut into it. At the front of the line, you had the option of taking a slice from the chocolate vanilla tiered cake, the carrot cake of your own making, or to Cove's delight, a piece of both. You went for both, obviously. Having just served Cove, the grooms both laughed to hear you also asked for 2 slices. What could you say? You want to have your cake and eat it twice. Cove grinned at you as you both returned to the table with a plate in each hand, 4 helpings between you.
Right.
Why make a hard choice when you don't have to, right? Right. This is why we're besties. When everyone was in their seats again, you had an unexpected visitor. Baxter had squeezed his way past the line for dessert and over to your table. His hand hovered at the back of your chair. Oh. Baxter, are you gonna eat the cake? This is like our dashing knights here. The moon knight and the dark knight. Sup? Hi. Hey. Cole's greeting was stilted and awkward. There simply hadn't been time before him to get used to Baxter's presence, and he was never quite used to it to begin with.
Hello.
It's been a while, Cove. Good evening, everyone. Are we enjoying ourselves? Your group exchanged glances amongst themselves as if to decide who would go first. Ish. Knife? Cove swallowed his mouthful of cake and tried again.
It's nice.
It's been pretty nice, yeah? Miranda threw up her hands in mock exasperation, her body language having become a lot more flamboyant ever since the one she'd had with the main course. Don't worry, Baxter. I think it's the best wedding I've ever been to. Terry nodded as she spoke, tilting his chair up on its hind legs with his arm draped over the back of it. It's been amazing. You brought your A game today, B-Man. Baxter's eyes twinkled at the mention of his old moniker? Well, I don't know. And it looked like the professional here was suppressing a laugh to boot. I'm afraid that joke gets a C-, Terry. A. No, but seriously, man, it's been a blast. That's what 2 successful events you've organized for Miranda's family already. You should become the official party planner for the Eckerts.
Yeah.
That could work. At least I know who to come to when Terry and I, need help. Exactly. Wait a minute. Miranda! You need to, shh. Quiet. You might ruin the surprise. But anyway, thank you guys for watching today's episode. I feel like this DLC has to be wrapping up soon, right? I have no idea, but I gotta go get my laundry. I'm busy laundry girl today. I'm literally doing my clothes, my bed sheets, my blankets, my pillows. It's a list. But anyway, thank you guys for watching today's episode. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.